Welcome to On Texas Football. It's time for lunch with the coaches. Coach Bryan, Erwin, Coach Bob Shipley joining me today. We're going to talk a little bit about the A&M game, what we saw from the offensive defense, and also we're going to talk a little bit about the rematch with Georgia and maybe what this means for the Longhorns and what they can improve on, what the ideas behind it all. But first of all, welcome in Coach Erwin, welcome in Coach Shipley. Y'all doing all right today?
Thank you. Doing great. Doing
Guys,
really great.
Hey, I think everybody's still feeling a little giddy about the Aggies. It's going to be 14 years before they get another chance at the Longhorns. Let's start on offense. Bryan, I'll start with you. Texas had one of its runs again, 17 points on 3 consecutive drives. The difference was they weren't quick drives. Like Texas, Sark usually has these were all methodical ones. Texas moved the ball down the field. What do you think of the Texas offense, pros and cons? And first of all, a hat tip to you on the Arch Manning run call, my man. Go ahead, Bryan.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. A few weeks back, we talked about, that needs to be the version of our Wildcat. And I really just believed it. And you and I talked before the game, and I just asked you how you felt. And you said you had heard that there was going to be a little arch package going on. I'm like, yes, and so when he goes in on that fourth down and 2 or whatever it was, and we get 2-back gun, and he zone reads that thing, and we were actually tackle over there. We had Gunnar Helm at tackle on the left-hand side, and he keeps it and breaks the tackle down the sideline, and he's got so much athletic ability. He can do so many things. So I think it's just a no-brainer. And then, he's going to throw that. He's going to throw that sucker too. You watch. I mean, we're going to have a pass or two while he's in there. But really neat to see that. Love the way we ran the football. Love Sark's approach with tempo and just diversity and running the ball and taking a couple deep shots there early. We missed one early, and then we hit the big one to Golden down the left sideline. What a beautiful throw. Gunnar Helm was involved. Obviously, Trey Weiser was just clicking. I mean, our zone run game was just clicking, and that's what's fun to see is when we got it going that early, in the game. So those 3 drives were a thing of beauty. I would have loved to see us, score on that last possession, where we missed the field goal. We've got to convert there. We go up 20-0, and ball game's over, in my opinion. We've got to make that kick and get that done there when we got them completely on their heels.
Yeah, you make that kick, and then the next drive in the first half or in the second half, you don't have to score a touchdown to go up 3 scores.
No.
Right?
No. Yeah, even if you kick the field goal instead of throwing, a shaky ball into the flat, and we know where things got ugly, and they did get ugly. I mean, we totally dominated the game. That game should have been 31-0 at the very minimum, in my opinion. But throwing the pick, then fumbling, fake. If you'd told me we would have thrown a pick 6 from our own 5-ish yard line, we would have fumbled from our own 5-ish yard line, and we'd gotten a punt blocked, I would have told you we'd lost the game by 17 points. That's how dominant we were throughout the rest of the game.
Yeah, the defense really carried the day, but the offense, Bob. What did you see on offense as well?
I saw one big guy at left tackle that tells us all we need to know about the future of the Longhorn offensive line. I mean, here's a guy, he didn't know he was going to have to be called in the game. He's sitting over there. He hadn't played much. Trevor Goolsby gets called in about the 6th or 7th or 8th play of the game and freaking kills it. No pressures, no sacks. I mean, if you're wondering about the future of our offensive line, I think we're in pretty good shape. We found our left tackle. We had him all along. And like I said, it's one thing to know all week you're going to start, but to not know you're going to start and to be ready, as Coach Erwin can tell you, that's all about getting mental reps. Because there's no way he's getting all the reps that the starters were getting, but he was getting mental reps. And he rose to the occasion. What a great example for the rest of his teammates and for backups all over the country. When your name is called, you've got to rise to the occasion. And he is my MVP of the game. Trevor Goolsby is the unsung hero of the game. CJ Vogel came out before the game, put out a little blurb saying, this is where legends are made. Somebody's going to make a name for themselves. It wasn't necessarily a great punt return, a great kick return, a great catch, a great run. It was consistent blocking for 3.5 quarters from Trevor Goolsby. And that's the difference in the game to me, is the depth that we have at offensive line to lose the #1 lineman in the country and not miss a beat. That's exciting.
Yeah, it really is, because it to your point, Bob and Bryan, it actually gives you a sense of this isn't some one-trick pony, right? You got more to it than that. What did y'all make? I got to ask, what did y'all make of the third quarter issues in the red zone? Was that poor play by Quinn? Was it, just not being careful enough with the ball? I think one of the things that Sark said on Monday that I thought was really good, he goes, even when Quinn made those plays, the fourth quarter, he came back and he was still steady. He goes, Quinn's steadiness is a strength of his. And I can see that, because you think about Kentucky, that turnover against Kentucky was as ugly as it can be. He's battling the heck out of the ankle at that point in time, but he still came back out there and took him down the field. Bryan, what did you think of that third quarter?
I about lost my mind. I changed clothes 3 times. I changed seats in my house twice, and I about lost my mind. I thought we were going to give it away. Complete domination, and I thought we were going to give it away. It was, bad decision, bad throw, poor velocity on the throw. Guys sitting there squatting on it, and we flick it out there with a little 2.5 ball. We've got to be more deliberate with where we're going with the ball in those situations. The spaces are so tight. There's just not much room down there anyway, and we don't have time for these little finesse throws, unless it's over the top to the back pylon, like we threw to Jaden Blue, in the second quarter, something like that, where it's one-on-one, the DB's got his back turned. But Quinn has got to take care of the football better, period. End of story. If we don't stop him on 4th and goal from the 1, I'm not sure we'd be smiling today. And so he's got to take care of the football. I go back to the first score when we talk about Arch scoring out of the Wildcat, or whatever we want to call it. The play before that, he floated a ball into the middle of the field.
Will Lee, yeah.
And I don't know how they didn't catch it. I mean, we all 3 would have caught that ball. So these little floaters to the middle of the field or floaters to the flat have to stop. We got to take care of the ball. And then when he takes off running, he's got to cover that thing up with 2 hands. To heck with trying to get the extra 6 inches or a yard. Cover that football up, get on the ground, and get it taken care of.
Gotcha. All right, moving on. Let's talk a little defense. Bob, you mentioned Trevor Goolsby on offense. Was it Vernon Broughton on defense that you thought had that special game where
There is no doubt. I love that guy. I love the way he plays. I love the way he's finishing out his season. And I mean, Anthony Hill is Anthony Hill, and if you're the quarterback for the Aggies and you've got Anthony Hill spying you, good luck. I mean, I said this all week, that quarterback he's a good dual threat quarterback, but you can bring him down with an arm tackle pretty easily. And he's prone to fumbling the ball. He's just so light and so little, but I love the way our defense played. I love the way that they are consistent. I love the way they don't get discouraged, that they're resilient, and so many times it looked like, oh man, offense is going to give them the game. And the defense would make a great stand. And here we go again. And that's what great teams do. It doesn't matter if you're on offense, defense, special teams, you find a way to win. And we tried to give it up offensively. We tried to give it up special teams. We did give up points offensively. We gave up points. Well, we didn't give up points special teams, but we damn sure tried. And thank goodness our defense came in and saved us. So I'm thankful for our defense. I'm thankful for the way that our kids are resilient in a hostile environment, and it didn't seem like it was any big deal to them. I didn't see any issues from noise and things like that. I mean, I know it's loud. We knew it was going to be loud. I didn't see it play a part in the game at all.
I got to say this. I mean, we talked about this. I think the fact that Texas was already going to be in the college football playoff, even if they lost, most likely 95% sure that they would. I think that gave and allowed Texas to play a lot looser than it did A&M. I mean, they went out there and played to win that first half. Bryan, what did you see on the defense that you wanted to call out?
My favorite term is compressing space defensively or create space offensively. On defense, we flat out compress space everywhere you look, whether it was fourth down plays, whether it was just 1st and 10 run plays. We got defensive linemen compressing space. We got, Baron Sorrell played a well of a game too. Vernon Broughton was all over the place, but Baron Sorrell just played his butt off. He had the first big 4th down stop, over there he was playing on the right-hand side. And that was after he jumped off sides a few plays earlier to give him a free 1st down. I thought he played great. Michael Taft, my gosh, he just keeps showing up, whether it's run game or whether it's the quarterback keeping it, getting that guy on the ground. So proud of him, but just the speed, the tenacity, the get after it that our guys are playing with, and how strong and fast we are. And probably more than anything, you hear about it after the game. Hey, what's your mindset? Ball sitting on the 1 yard line. Hey, our mindset is they ain't getting in. Our mindset is that's our paint. That's our end zone, and they ain't getting in. That's what you love to hear. I mean, the belief, the culture. They talk about that in practice. Like, hey, you ain't getting in here. And I mean, I'm sure sometimes it's Quinn and Trey Wiser and that number 1 offensive line going against them, and that's what sets the tone, because you got to be prepared for those moments, and you get prepared for those moments in practice. What we used to do is, we 2 or 3 plays, full live go, on Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on what's high school or college. But you're gonna go 2 or 3 live plays from the 1, and we're gonna flat out get after it. We're not gonna go 16 plays, 2 or 3 live plays. You just pray nobody gets hurt, all that good stuff. But you got to learn to play that way down there on the goal line. And so the belief that those guys had, I mean, the very first stop on 4th down set the tone for the game. And I believe they made a major mistake not kicking that ball. And then obviously they made a major mistake not kicking the last one, because you got to cut it to 1 score. That just doesn't even make sense. You got to cut the game to 1 score. But I'm glad they did, because I'm glad our defense got a chance to rise up and be great.
Hey, it looked like Ethan Burke on that 4th and 1. It reminded me of Jonah getting swallowed by a whale, because he looked like he just swallowed.
But it wasn't just him, Bobby. He made the play, but if he doesn't make it, there's 2 or 3 other guys that are going to make the play. They're not getting in. Even if he's not even on the field, they're not getting in because of the pressure, the compression of space, penetrating in the backfield. We obliterated their offensive line on that play all across the board.
Mike Elko would agree. He said, we got annihilated. Yeah. I think it's when the opposing coach says we were annihilated, that's pretty good stuff. Before we go on and talk a little bit about Georgia, I want to say thank you to our sponsor. Lunch with the Coach has been brought to you by Keller Williams Realtor, Laura Baker. There's no one like her. She's the best there is out there in the city of Austin and surrounding areas. Give her a call at any time. 512-784-0505. That's 512-784-0505. Laura, or reach out to her at laura@andyallenteam.com if you're moving to, from, or within the Austin area. She's there for you. She is a lifelong Austinite. Hey, guys, Sark on Monday talked about playing a team twice. What does this mean? One thing he said that I thought was just so good at his presser on Monday, he said, Georgia deserves our best shot. We didn't give them our best shot the first go round. Mm-hmm. What does that mean to y'all when a coach says something like that? Bob, you can go first.
Yeah, I think it's huge. I think I think, first of all, we were still trying to find out who we were in the Georgia game. And I think now we have a better understanding of who we are as a football team. And, it's no secret. Coaches say this all the time. And I know from my experience as coaching, it is difficult to beat a team twice in 1 year, especially a team as talented as University of Texas. So I feel like that, it's an opportunity for Texas to obviously go back and look at that film. If you're Georgia, how do you change your game plan from the last game to this game? What do you change? I don't know what you change, but I have to give Texas the advantage because we've continued to get better, and I don't know that Georgia has continued to get better. I feel like they played the best game of the season against us, and we have continued to progress. We've continued to work on some things we need to work on. That's the only game we've lost. They've lost a couple of more, and so it's I think it's a great opportunity for our football team, for our conference, to come in and play Georgia again in their home state. And I think it's going to be a really good game, and one that obviously I feel like Texas will come out on top. I just think it's really hard to beat a Sark team and PK team two times in 1 year. It just doesn't happen.
Hey, Bryan, Sark on Monday said, beyond cleaning up the penalties, he said there were three things that stuck out to him against Georgia the first go-round. Pass protection and identification. He said that just wasn't it. He said we missed one-on-one blocks. They beat us too many times one-on-one in blocks. And then we didn't get open one-on-one. When we had man coverage, we just didn't get open sometimes. Yeah. Those are the three things, along with cleaning up the mental mistakes. I think 7 pre-snap penalties, he said, they had against Georgia the first go-round. You're Sark right now. What are you thinking about those kind of things and what Texas can do to kind of alleviate those issues?
Yeah, when you posed that question and Bob was talking, and Bob got a great point, and I totally agree with him. But as he was talking, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, what am I going to say? What sticks out? And that's exactly what I was thinking was pass protection. We had such big, gigantic issues in that game. DJ Campbell struggled. Cameron Williams struggled mightily. And so we got to get that cleaned up. You know what? That might have been the best struggles they've ever encountered, because since then, they've really gotten better. They've become very good football players. Even the pre-snap penalty thing you mentioned a while ago, I feel like they've cut – I don't know what those numbers are, but I know they've cut down on those the last 2 or 3 games. We haven't been as sloppy. We only had like 5 penalties the other night, nothing major, nothing crazy. So I'd definitely say pass protection and the scheme that we're utilizing and our just better technique and staying in position where we need to be inside out on that defensive lineman. I think another point is last go around, they were the hungrier football team. They were hungry. When they came to Austin, they were pissed off. They had a chip on their shoulder, and we didn't. And we learned real quick, you better be pissed off and have a chip on your shoulder. And Kirby Smart did a great job of getting his guys there. And I think now we've got a chip on our shoulder. We feel like probably we're the best team in the country, and we're acting like it, we're playing like it, we're walking around like it, but with humility and being coached the right way and playing the right way. And then lastly, they're coming off an 8 overtime victory. That game might play a part in this game. It could, just the emotional toll, the physical toll, the toll in which, to be flat out honest, they were aided. They were aided in that game. That pass interference penalty that allowed them to score at the end of the game to get it to overtime was bogus. And then when Haynes King ran that football and that safety speared him, that safety targeted him with the if that's not targeting, I don't know what is. And when that ball came out, because the ball didn't come out, Haynes King's getting the first down, and the game is over. The game is, there's no way Georgia's gonna be able to come back and win that football game. So I just feel like Georgia got aided a little bit, helped out a little bit. They've gone through an 8 overtime game, And like Bob said, I don't know that they've improved a ton since then. We have. We've become a really, really good football team. And I said last week, I said, this Texas team reminds me of Michigan's team last year. And Michigan started to take a leap the week they played Ohio State last year. And I felt like if we could do that against in our big rivalry game, the last conference game of the year against A&M, it could mirror each other and it could mimic the type of season that Michigan had last year. You look at our team compared to them. Defensively, we're elite. Michigan was elite. Offensively, they were good. We're very good. And I think we're starting to peak at the right time and play with a chip on our shoulder. So I like our chances.
You got me fired up a little bit there. I like that. And the reason I say that is because not necessarily the idea that Georgia was absolutely 110% in, because if they didn't win that game, they knew they weren't going to the not to the SEC championship, but they were likely out of the playoffs at that time, right? They put everything, laid it all. I think their coaching staff laid it all on the line with some play designs, etc. But we'll see what happens Saturday in Atlanta. I got to ask you guys your thoughts overall right now. Y'all just mentioned, and Bob, you said we figured out who we are since the Georgia game, and I'm going to just ask y'all. I'm going to give you all my interpretation of who Texas is, and y'all kind of take your own spin on it and add to or subtract whatever you think. Okay, I think Texas is a defense first team that has figured out how to run the football and capitalize on opportunities. And by that, I mean complimentary football right now for Texas. CJ came up with this stat, guys. The last 9, or actually, I think Sark is the one that gave it to the media group. The last 9 turnovers Texas has received, Texas has scored on 6 of them, or need the ball out to end a half or end a game. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good ratio. They're capitalizing on their opportunities, not creating too many negatives on their own, even though Saturday was a reversion to mean or a regression to mean a little bit, and they're leaning on their defense. They're getting out to quick leads and then hiding, basically. What is it that y'all would agree with, disagree with, or add to that statement? Bryan or Bob, either one of you want to go first?
I totally agree. I don't know how you could say it any better. I mean, than what you did. We are an elite defense, and what we always try to do, and I'm sure Bob did the same thing, is you try to figure out who you are and then marry the two. Okay, let's take kicking game out. Kicking game's important. It's very, very important. But let's take it out of the mix. You've got to marry your offense and your defense together. And they've got to complement each other. One plays off the other. So once you figure out, say who you are defensively, that helps you marry your offense. Do you need to be a tempo team? Do you need to be a slow down team? Do you need to be a ball control team and minimize possessions? Do you want to have balance? Well, of course, everybody wants balance, but do you want to be that physical running team, or do you need to throw it a little more often, a little more early? So I think there's no doubt we're a defensive club. We're an elite defensive club. So then, therefore, we marry our offensive play calling to that with tempo, with run to pass, with how aggressive we can be or have to be, at the end of the half or at different situations during the game. Even down, inside the 10-yard line, like we talked about a while ago, that's got to be taken in consideration. Matter of fact, one time on 3rd and 6 or 3rd and 8, we ran the football, and that's when we kicked our field goal to make it 17. And I thought, man, that's a strange call out of Sark, But hey, if we can make this thing 17-0, he probably felt like checkmate. And that's notwithstanding, obviously, the crazy turnovers and stuff we did in the second half. But we all felt like 17 probably was enough, because that's where I was going crazy in the game. I'm like telling my wife, I'm like, look, they can't score 17 points. They can't score 17. So why are we giving them, So I do feel like it influences your play calling. I think that's a prime example. When we handed it off on 3rd and 8 to kick the field goal to make it 17, that was, I think, a good call on Sark's behalf. If you bust it up in there and score, great. But just marrying the two together, he knows who we are defensively, and then get the ball in the playmakers' hands offensively.
What do you think, Bob? Who do you think Texas is right now?
Well, I think we know more who we are than Georgia knows who they are. I think Carson Beck is a key to their offense. I think maybe our running backs and offensive line are the key to our offense. At this point, we have to accept what it is. It's not what we thought it would be, but we have to accept the fact that we're running the ball pretty well. Offensive line is playing pretty good. They gave us their best shot. Now we've got to give them our best shot. Who would you trade right now? Would you take Carson Beck as your quarterback or Quinn Ewers as your quarterback? Honestly, neither one of them are playing at the level they were expected to play at this year. But I still feel like Quinn gives us the best chance to win. But I'll go back and say this again. I still have this gut feeling that Arch is going to come in and win a game for us. I don't think it'll be the SEC championship game because we're going to be in whether we win or lose this game, in my opinion. But at some point, I feel like that Arch is going to have to come in and save the day because of an injury or because of something unforeseen. I don't know what it is, but Carson Beck has been a huge disappointment this season. Our defense has been a huge surprise this season. Quinn Ewers still is trying to find his way. The pick six he threw, I'm not so sure, Bryan, that the pick six, it wouldn't have been a pick six had the ball not been touched. It was just a horrible throw to begin with. The guy was all covered up. He nonchalantly kind of threw it out there, sidearm. That's just a bad play. But I'll still take Quinn over Carson Beck. I'll take our defense over their defense. I'll take our offensive line over their offensive line. I'll take our running game over their running game. I feel really good about this SEC championship game.
All right, guys, we've got more coming up next week. Obviously, we've got more coming up this week as well. Later today, we'll have another episode for you guys, the recruiting breakdown. Jerry Hamilton's going to be talking about that. We're less than 24 hours from recruiting. And then next week, we got the portal, guys. Y'all be happy y'all aren't college coaches because, think about what Sark's dealing with right now. He's trying to get ready for Kirby Smart and Georgia. He's trying to get ink to paper on a number of recruits, and then he's got the portal opening up on the 9th. He's got but he does make about $10 million a year, so maybe he can handle it, right? Yeah. That's going to do it for today's Lunch with the Coach. Appreciate you guys. Thank you also to our sponsor, Laura Baker. She'll be at the game. I just already texted her earlier today. She'll be at the game on Saturday in Atlanta. I'll meet up with her. 512-784-0505. 512-784-0505. You're moving to, from, or within the Austin area, reach out to Laura. She knows exactly where the places are to live, etc. She knows it inside and out. Laura at AndyAllenTeam.com. Guys, y'all have a good one. And until next time, big win over the Aggies. Hook 'em.
Welcome.